It's only a kick, a jump, a block. It's only a serve. It's only a tackle, a run. It's only for the fans. After all, it's only pressure. You got this. Adidas.
With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
Hey there! Did you know Baker's always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower-than-low prices? And when you download the Baker's app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Baker's today. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Welcome to the Wrap Podcast, the place to catch up on all the regional and national rugby in Wales. You can find us on all the usual social media platforms and message us through there if you want, or you can email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. So all the boring stuff out the way, let's talk rugby.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Wrap Podcast. We are a man down this evening, so it's just Harley and James with me this evening. Good evening, gents.
Good evening.
Makes it a lot better when I've only got one James and Jamie to remember, or James, as Harley likes to call you now. So you didn't
That was
see
an autocorrect.
Let's
too much Game of Thrones.
I think it's too much beer left over from the weekend, Harley. So let's start with a as it is Easter Monday. It is Monday, isn't it? Yes, Easter Monday.
Monday, mate.
Fucking hell. Let's do beer of the week and make a nice swift one through. So Harley, you can start. What have you got, mate?
So I've gone for a little bit more sweet than I usually go, but I do love it. So Sanford Orchards as always, because I'm back down in God's country, and this is called Fanny's Brambles. It's a blackcurrant cider. It's not, although I say it's a sweeter one, it's still quite dry. So it's just got a really nice fruity flavour to it. And yeah, I just really like it.
Anything,
and also I started drinking it. I tried it basically because I just thought Fanny.
Exactly. So I went and
ordered a bottle of it, and then that was it. Then I went, oh, actually, this is quite nice.
Any beer that's got the name Fanny in it has got to be a good one. Otherwise, you just can't, can you? You can't put a beer out and call it Fanny and then not make it a good one. Any wanky bollocks to report on it?
Not really, but it does have a cocktail concept on the bottle. And it's called Fanny's Ruin, which in itself is worth it. And this is basically just a nice premium gin topped up with this stuff with a bit of fresh blackberries and mint, which I'm not going to lie, now I've seen it, I'm definitely going to be trying at some point.
Cool. Okay. So, James, I'm fully expecting you not to have a beer ready, seeing as 5 minutes ago you were cooking.
No. Yeah, so for context, folks, I'm on half term now, as I work in a school.
What's that?
Yeah, exactly. So the day sort of escaped me, and I did not realise the time. And I had I was in the kitchen doing some baking. I just finished making some dough for some cookies or biscuits I was making, and then Harley messaged saying, "Are we still recording at 6?" I looked up and it was 10 to 6, and Lee had just opened the Zoom call. So I have no beer, and I'm just drinking tea.
I think that's a pretty poor excuse. It's not far away from a Babycham fine. I'll be honest, but I think you've been.
It's just a shame we'll never do a Babycham fine because it's not 1964.
That's the whole point of a Babycham fine. I think the only person that's ever actually done a Babycham fine
It's Reese.
was Reese. Yeah, and I think he had about 2 sips and just couldn't take the rest of it. It was.
I know exactly where I'm at because there's some behind the bar at Bognor Rugby. I'm pretty sure that's just there as a reminder as to why today is better than the 80s.
We should have a Babycham.
Better than the Port Soap Doctor at Sidmouth.
Better than the what?
Which is a Port Soap Doctor. So the club I've been.
Why the conservative have I just heard you say?
Seriously, it's so Middle England. So the town I live in, Ockley St Mary, doesn't have a rugby club anymore. Most of those players have folded into Sidmouth Rugby Club, but we still have an annual game every Good Friday. It's the Good Friday game, and new players to the Ockley team are smacked in the face with an otter which has been soaked in port. That is in a stuffed otter, not an actual otter. That would be cruel. Yes, that's just one of the things. That's the team mascot. It's covered, and it just spends half its time soaked in port.
So let me get this straight, right? Every Good Friday, you have a game of rugby, and after the game of rugby, you soak a stuffed otter in port and slap each other around the face with it.
Only the new players. That'd be weird to do it to everyone all the time. Go on, Lee.
Right, and they say the community game is dying. Well, okay, right. I've gone for Conwy Brewery, a Clogwyn Gold, which is a pretty bog standard normal one. Although when I did pour it out just now, it very nearly invaded the laptop and very nearly ended tonight's recording before we started. So this is a tropical fruit aromas followed by sweet malts and gentle hoppy bitter aftertaste. Bollocks it is. It's beer, boys. So
just need to ask your laptop how it tastes.
It was like there. It was about 3-4 inches away and like slowly creeping towards, and I had to find something to wipe it up. Anyway, enough of the beer. Let's talk rugby. So no Jamie this week to do news desk. So James, news desk is all yours, my friend.
Right, so starting off with the Scarlets, they did some reshuffling on the deck chairs in Titanic this week, and they've announced that they are to recruit a rugby performance director, with Dwayne Peel moving to work alongside head coach Dwayne Peel. So essentially, they're getting a director of rugby in. From what I understand, that's very similar to the role that Mike Ruddock plays at the Ospreys. So that's to my understanding what that is. John Daniels, everyone's favourite, is now Scarlets managing director. He has moved from rugby general manager to Scarlets managing director. They are to appoint a head of development pathway, and Chief Operating Officer Philip Morgan is to be moved to Chief Finance Officer, or Chief Financial Officer, so CFO. Some quotes, there's been a lot of work to do, which is vital to our future development, sustainability, and long-term success. These appointments will bring leadership and knowledge that will intensify our focus and performance to align our rugby business and strengthen a very committed and hard-working team at Park Scarlets. And then just some more corporate bollocks about other stuff. Simon Mudrak did do a video club update in which some ex-players were quite vexed. Will Boyd, in particular, voicing his opinion on Harley. For those who are listeners, Harley has pointed to his Will Boyd jersey. But Will Boyd, in particular, was vocal in voicing his opinion, particularly on the treatment of local players. Lee, you're our resident Scarlets guru.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
Well, Will Boyd is a Crummock boy or a Narberth boy. He's in between the two. That and should never have left the Scarlets. So yeah, and there's many players. Like to be fair, if Scarlets held on to all of our players, none of you lot would have a fucking team. So we are particularly poor at holding on to players, and I think that's a culture thing that it's an arrogance thing that's been in the club for a long time. Will these changes make any difference? I mean, we had a tip off about half an hour before those changes came out that
we did.
There was a big announcement coming, and it was significantly bigger than what actually came out, and that came from someone fairly, well connected inside the club. So yeah, I don't know how that changed that late or whether it did change that late. I think the shocking thing was our media team worked out how to do a video with a person speaking. I think that was the biggest shock for everyone, that our social media team actually did something on the day. Mind you, it could have been recorded before, I suppose. But yeah, a lot of people will want Daniels out, and I get that, and a lot of people are calling for Dwayne Peel to go, and I get that. But reality is reality. There's money involved. There's more than just the here and now. There's people involved in it, and I think the problem at the minute is people are forgetting that actually there's people, slagging people off on social media, this, that, and the other, and there's people at the other side of those comments that are receiving those comments, and just saying, oh well, he's head of rugby, or he's a head coach or whatever, and he's shit and all this kind of stuff makes no difference. There's still people, there's still families involved. So I think that was a disappointing thing, the way that it kind of came. The reaction from Scarlet supporters more than anything was overly negative. Didn't need to be. Then that was before the weekend's rugby. So
can you imagine if they announced that today?
Yeah, the whole thing would just implode.
Not a lot of love for Simon Mudrak either.
No, and I kind of, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He really is, because if he sits here and does nothing, then everyone will have a go at him for, you're not doing anything. If he gets rid of people and takes the financial clout, then, we're already losing a shitload of cash. Then we're going to lose a shitload more cash, and we've got no guarantee that who we bring in is going to be any better. And this does feel like a little bit of a fudge, does feel a little bit of like a halfway house. I've been saying the rumours about Easterby coming in have been there since the start of the season. I've seen him at Parker Scarlets, at the start of the season last year. So, there's definitely legs behind those rumours, but Ireland want to keep him, and then you've got Andy Farrell doing the Lions, and we don't know where Easterby now sits in the Irish setup. Is he going to be given the Irish team while Farrell is away, or is he going to go with the Lions? And, Scarlets keep falling down the ladder. At some point, Easterby will come home, and he will come to us, apparently. So that looks like what the director of rugby role will be, but we can't wait forever on it. And if he turns around and he says, I'm going to be with Ireland for another 2 years, then they do have to go out and look for that. I've been told that we've gone out to market this week. So if that means Easterby has committed to Ireland for another 2 years or 4 years, and that's why we've had to go out to market rather than what we were told was the announcement was coming. That's why we were getting excited. The announcement is Easterby's on his way. The big white horse is coming. Don't worry. And what we got told is somebody's coming at some point, but we don't know who. So that's
from obviously your rival, but as a outsider, it sort of just announced that there was going to be announcements coming. and it tried to generate hype, and I think it had just had the wrong reaction of people.
Yeah, but there's a big meeting this week on Wednesday, a Meet the Fans meeting where they're taking questions from the floor. I'll be honest, I wouldn't want to be in that meeting if I was senior management. This week it's going to be a real rough ride because anyone with a mouth and an axe to grind is all of a sudden interested in going to the fans meeting. So I don't know, maybe they walk Simon used to be out just before and go ta-da, and everyone goes, oh, but I don't know, mate. It's one of those things that yeah, whichever way he goes, he's stuffed. There's hope for the future. Apparently, Gareth Williams is lined up to be academy coach. Academy in charge of academy, whatever they call it.
Development pathway.
Yeah, which in a way is good.
Referee's job.
It leaves Scott Snedden doing what Scott Snedden does best, and that's coaching players. And Scott Snedden has made a massive impact on this year's. Like he didn't have much to do with coaching last year. He was kind of there or thereabouts. If he'd have been involved, I was involved in the academy the last 2 years. And if he'd have been involved in the academy for the last 2 years, the players that we had in the Scarlets Academy for the last 2 years that left, they'd still be there, and we would have a real strong kind of going forward. You know, to give you an idea of where the academy was last year, they announced a team for a game last year, an under-18s team, and half of that team turned around and went, "Nah, I'm not playing." And walked away from the under-18s. So that's how bad it was last year in the under-18s, how badly coached, how badly managed it was, where players were given an opportunity to play in the Scarlets top, and they went, no, I'm going to go play for my club side instead. So with this year, under-18s have been superb, and a lot of that is down to Snedden. So, yeah.
And they were very good. Right, moving swiftly on. Into some only one bit of Cardiff news this week. Two technically. Jamie Hill, scrum half, former USW player, I believe, as well, has left the club seemingly with immediate effect and is headed for Australia, presumably to play in the Shoot Shield. Harley, bad, good. What are we saying?
I mean, a bit bad because we're losing Thomas and we don't really have anyone in. So a lot of people are thinking, our first two scrum halves basically we're going to be Hill and Bevan for the next couple of seasons. I feel for Jamie Hill. He's never really got his, he's had such horrific luck with injuries that never really got the run he probably should have. And he's, pretty decent play. Rowan did very, if Bevan was basically our young Thomas, he was our young Lloyd. So it's a bit gutting. I mean, I think it makes it even more imperative that we announce a new scrum half signing soon. It's not going to be Faf de Klerk. Please stop saying shit like that.
Well, that was my next. That was my next point because we'll go into a Rugby Pass article this week that involves all three of us actually. So let's start with Faf de Klerk. So Faf de Klerk is looking for a club, right? And he's apparently demanded around sort of 700k a year wages. And in the list of clubs that are sort of interested and have made contact with him, one name stood out more than and it was Cardiff. You're really not helping the checkbook, Charlie.
I mean, I know we've discussed it briefly, but it seems that yes, we're losing 700,000 from the player budgets this for the next season, but supposedly we're able to have two marquee players.
You are allowed to have two marquee players. Yes.
So obviously they're cap exempt, but it has to be approved by the PRB, and I still think there are certain criteria. It can't be above a certain amount. It's not going to be Faf de Klerk. If we've got £700,000 spare for players, there are
you're saying
a half decent scrum half and then maybe, some more type 5 forwards, because any of our second rows who are even vaguely competent seem to get called up to spend 3 months with Wales to hold tackle bags.
So Cardiff is signing Faf de Klerk. Next, going back to Scarlets briefly on that Neil Fissler article. Scarlets were on the verge of signing a tighter prop. That deal has fallen through, so they were set to sign former Australia A international Archer Holt from the Brumbies. Great name, by the way. But I've sent out a message to players' agents around the league saying at the back of the market. He's 24, made 2 appearances for La Rochelle this season as a World Cup joker. So bad luck on the Scarlets front, especially around prop, seeing as the news came out this week that Wyn Jones is likely to move over the bridge. Into Ospreys news then. Ospreys are set to sign Leicester Tigers centre Phil Cockmasiga, former England under-20 centre, 22 years old, who joined from London Irish after their demise. He's obviously the younger brother of England international and Bath player Joe Cockmasiga and cousin of Lagi Tuima, who has run Red Roses catch. He's apparently joining on a 2-year deal. His contract ends this summer. I think that's a great pickup if he stays injury-free. He's young enough. I think he's played about 80% of his games inside centre, but I genuinely think Booth will look at him as an outside centre. Obviously, Toby knows the family very well, having been involved with the London Irish and Bath setups, so knowing Joe. So I wouldn't be surprised if that played a part in it. I can't comment on a deal that hasn't gone through yet. The only game I've watched Phil Cockmasiga play was the game he played against Ealing Trail Finders when he won man of the match. So if it goes through and it comes off, brilliant. Sticking with Ospreys, then hooker Ethan Lewis has signed a new contract with the Ospreys. He joined from Saracens start of the season. Former Cardiff hooker. He's currently out with a calf injury that'll keep him out till the end of the year. But I like Ethan Lewis. He's solid. Really good squad player. When injury free, especially at the start of the season, he really took the load off with Dewi Lake being out, Sam Parry sort of not being back to full fitness. And then on that as well, it's been confirmed that Dewi Lake and Jack Morgan will not be available for sale on Saturday. I'll talk more about that later. But as a precaution, Ospreys have registered hooker Chris Moore from Munster into their squad. Chris Moore, born in the West Country, played for Exeter Uni, one of their many title-winning sides, I believe, before signing for Munster. He's been playing a lot for young Munster in AIL. Add bodies to the squads. Final bit of Ospreys news then. In the last 10 minutes, Andy Howell has tweeted that Ospreys are going to set to announce St Helens as the destination for their stadium rebuild. Again, this is nothing confirmed by the Ospreys themselves. This is just heavy rumours. These are the rumours that I've been receiving through the pod. So look out for that in the next week.
But if that rumour is true, is it not just exchanging one for the other? Do you know what I mean? I thought the whole point of this move was have your own stadium. You get the match day stuff. You're not paying rent to anyone. Do you know what I mean?
The way I see it is they will make a hell of a lot more money from Swansea Irish being at St Helens than they will at the stadium they're currently at. They currently make the only thing they make money on at the minute is merchandise. As far as I'm aware, they don't even make money on the ticketing because that's done through the Swansea City ticketing system.
Right. So from what's been rumoured about this kind of move is that the ground will be owned by, someone else, and it'll be Swansea University will be a part owner of the ground.
So yes. So this has been a rumour for many. This was a rumour when I was in university a few years ago. Is that Swansea University wants a full dedicated rugby setup, as in a proper base with modern facilities and whatnot, like Exeter, like Loughborough do, like Hartbury, in that because they want to be attracting top talent from around the world, essentially. This has been a rumour in terms of Ospreys for a few years. Now, what St Helens allows the Ospreys to do is have all that. They will make money on it because they will essentially, the pitch is not going to stay where it's going to be. It's going to be rotated slightly. They're planning on putting a barn in for indoor training. Basically what they have at Llandarcy, that type of barn in there. The pitch is obviously going to be 4G. There's chances to increase non-match day revenue. Look, it's the best option out of the three.
It's limited. It's limited physically. You've got a road and the sea on one side.
The only thing that limits it, right, is geography in terms of getting to it. They have to improve the public transport links to get to it, right? That's what the best thing the Knoll had was how easy it is to get to, but you can't build around the Knoll.
And you can't park at the Knoll. There's no.
You can't park. Well, no, you can now because there's a car park opposite.
Well, right.
It's a brand new multi-story, but you can't build anything around the Knoll. So you couldn't have a training base. You couldn't have anything. So having that, it just makes sense. Look, this is not a confirmed story. As soon as it's confirmed, I will do a piece on it. I love St Helens, and I'm very much looking forward to it if it comes to fruition.
So you heard it here first. James has just confirmed that the Ospreys are going back to St Helens. We can all hang our hat on James's word on that one.
For any legal teams wanted to represent me, my number is, and anyone who wanted to sue me, my name is Robbie Owen. I repeat, Robbie Owen. And then final bit of news, and there's a lot of news this week, is that David Buttress, chairman and owner of Dragons,
I guess.
Co-owner of the Dragons, has been announced as the new CEO of OVO Energy. So yeah, new front of shirt sponsor for the Dragons very soon. It affects me, and if they can sort my bloody electricity prices out.
I think he's about to lose a lot of good faith in from a lot of people when he puts that out there. So right,
that's the end of the news. There's a lot of news this week. I apologise.
Yeah,
Jamie picked the right week to be off.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He did. Family.
No, he's not even a family. He's at the football.
With the family, though. He's at the football with the family.
Yeah, they lost 4-0 to Crawley, and now he's in Nando's.
Yeah. Okay.
I said there is one other bit, but I mean, do we really want to go into the regional losses or about one particular journalist being an arse about it?
No, let's deal with that when we do.
That'd be more my beef.
Yeah,
if I was doing beef.
Let's.
I'll do that on my feeder pod.
Let's talk about the games over the weekend. So Dragons game first. So obviously no Jamie here, which is ironic because normally Jamie misses the week when Dragons get absolutely slaughtered by Leinster. And the one week where they actually put in a half decent performance, have quite a decent game, albeit against Zebra, come away with a win, and Jamie's not here. So what did you guys think of that game? So Harley, you go. What was your thoughts?
It was great. I think there's definitely. I mean, first of all, it's just important for them to get the win. There were definitely things to improve on, but the fact that they stuck in there and the amount of times they've had these, had issues where they've started off games really well and just slowly back down. Like when when Zebra started scoring a few tries of their own, I was starting to think, oh, gosh, we're going to have same old Dragons again. Yeah, is Jamie going to have to take 3 weeks off from the pod just to recover? But some very good performances. Some sloppy errors and discipline. Like Kai Evans really should have got those first 2 conversions. Really, they weren't. They are the sort of range. Particularly, he does generally hope to be in the Wales picture in future as a goal kicker. Probably needs to be a bit more on it. But I mean, Zebra are a team that do tend to score lots of tries. That is one good thing about them. Their issues being more in defence, and they held Zebra out quite well. I mean, the try they did concede was very soft. I think you've got to accept that, but yeah, I mean, it's a good win for the Dragons. I wish I could be saying the same thing.
James, what did you make of that game, mate? Oh, that's
fucking hell.
That's what Harley thought of that.
I know you wanted to win, but
that's a mic drop. That is.
I thought Dragons played well. Not in the sense of you go out, you score so many tries, you're clinical. I think they were dogged in defence. I think physically that's the best they've probably looked all season. They just looked like that bit of ferocity and that player for the. I don't like to lean on rugby stereotypes, right? Because I think that it's not there in the modern game as such. But they did. They looked like they wanted to play for each other, play for the badge. A lot of local boys in there properly wanting to go for it, and yeah, fair play to them. If you look at their tries, they come from pressure. They like that Rosso one where he goes 70 meters, whatever it is, comes from Tane Basham not giving up at a ruck, and Rosso picking it up and going the length. The driving more right is an amalgamation of a set piece, but also the willingness to get over the line. So in that sense, yeah, brilliant. I genuinely can't fault them on that. And if you look at their stats from the game, when's the last time you saw Dragons with 89% scrum win, 100% line out win? They probably didn't have the flashiest sort of running stats and things like that. But, they made 94% of their tackles. When was the last time you could say a Dragons team did that? And yes, the caveat is they did it against Zebra, right? But it doesn't matter because you could do that against the world champions and you'll still be applauded for it, and rightly so. So, yeah, standouts, Tane Basham, I thought he's playing for a contract somewhere. That's how he's playing at the minute, whether it be at the Scarlets, which is the one that's heavily rumoured, or he's re-signing at the Dragons. Rosser, who you're convinced is a blindside flanker.
I just looked at it. Hadn't occurred to me before Friday just how big he is, and I think he stood
it's the
next.
bald thing as well.
Yeah, I think he stood next to. I think he was standing next to his second rows, and I thought, those are the forwards. And then he walks away and stands on the wing, and he walks past the backs, and you're like, fucking hell, he's massive. And I thought genuinely he was outstanding, and trying to pick fights with wingers and all that kind of stuff and scrum halves. I loved that. I thought he was fantastic. He's another one that kind of looked like he was playing for something. And like you said,
he's only 6 foot tall.
He just looks bigger. I think it might be the glow off his head.
He's 15 stone, 6 foot. But he's got quality acceleration on him. But yeah, he played really well.
Yeah.
Didn't get Will Reed got man of the match. I think that was probably one of Will Reed's best performances. I think he's turning into a handy little 10. I'm not saying he's going to be Wales bound. I do think he will at some point in the future. But that's a better learning experience for Will Reed, handling that in a dogged game where it can go either way than playing well in a 50-point loss or something like that. So yeah, I'm genuinely buzzing for the Dragons. The emotions on their faces at the end says it all.
I think the disappointing thing for them now is they haven't got a chance to back it up next week. They haven't got you do build momentum, you do build positivity, and they've now got 2 weeks off before. Is it 1 week or 2 weeks off? It's it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. So it's almost rebuilding it again. They'll have a couple of days off and then they come back in and then they rebuild it and what have you. So yeah, I thought Dragons, that was, like you say, it wasn't a pretty game, but it was exciting. It was genuinely, engrossing to watch the Dragons. It didn't feel like the Dragons were going to lose that from about halfway through the first half. They felt like they had control of that game. And then you just keep reminding yourself that they're the Dragons and they've thrown games away from better positions in this. So yeah, fair play to them. I was impressed. I was impressed with the fight that they put up.
Gives Judgment Day a bit more jeopardy now.
No, I fucking hate Judgment Day because they play us every year and we're always just coming into form and they're just not, and then they always fuck us over. I hate it. I predicted
I was there
it
for last year.
Didn't I say it last year, Harley, from about like 2 months before? Oh, you were. Were you on the pod for this time last year?
I wasn't on the pod.
Yeah. Your sound is all over the place.
Are you talking through a microwave?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll next time we'll just go really close to the phone.
Talking to a war journalist.
Yes. My laptop actually died, and the charger that's down here in Devon doesn't actually charge your laptop. I found, so I've had to switch to my phone, and then the headset I was using is crap. So I do apologise if you hear giggling or screaming child. I've basically had to do a mark.
Right, let's move on to the next game of the weekend then, which was Ospreys and Lions. So James, I mean, the final score flattered it a little bit. Those last 10 minutes where Lions were coming back at you and a massive turnover and then another try, but it was competitive right up to those last those last 20 minutes were competitive, and then the last 10 minutes you kind of ran away with.
Yeah, I'd say they had two 15-minute spells in that game where they properly challenged us. I was expecting a lot more actually from the Lions, because especially from when we went down there in what they can do with ball in hand, and they just didn't. They played a lot, but didn't do much. I was really happy with the way we played. I thought we played with pace. I think, if I look, I started making notes for Wednesday, for the actual breakdown for Wednesday, but the first try, the Tom Boter try, comes from quick ball, like consistent pressure. Like every carry from that line out is gain line. So Owen Watkin goes over the gain line, then Sam Parry goes over, is driven forward on the latch. James Ratty, Rhys Davis, they all carried really well. So it's something you probably haven't seen. You're probably thinking, oh, it's the same old Ospreys just going through the forwards. But actually, what we haven't seen all the time from the Ospreys is consistent crossing of the gain line.
Mm.
So when you have that, you can't, any team, right, are going to struggle. And it was just pressure. It was just pressure. And then that second try is great awareness from Ruben Morgan-Williams. And that, I think it's the fact that it's a hooker on the other side is on the support line there from a long way out. It just shows the willingness, the want to get over. Jamie tweeted last night, right, the culture is the buzzword in Welsh rugby at the minute. In that, you got Cardiff and Ospreys who have seemingly great cultures within the squad, Dragons, mixed reviews, and then Scarlets seemingly don't have that culture at the minute, right? On inspection. So so they're not busting a gap to get on the shoulder. So that when you see that from a set, from a prop, you're very much, that's great to see. That's great to see. Morgan Morris is an absolute freak. He rightly was named player of the match on the weekend. 18 tackles, 21 carries, scored a try. 15-minute spell either side of half time for Lions. Did flatten a bit. The changes that we made, we brought on a very inexperienced front row, and that showed. Probably should have had a yellow card at the scrum, but we didn't. So I'm not going to complain. And then it's very easy to in that last minute to eat at the clock and go for goal and make that scoreline look more flattering to the Lions. But we went for the corner. Keelan Giles then just that game breaking ability. Kieran Williams on the support line. So it's probably the right scoreline. Lions did come to play and they did play, but they ultimately we sent them away with nothing.
I think when the Lions had the ball, they genuinely looked quite threatening. There was only a couple of times where they screwed it up for themselves, and they were, like I say, there were periods of time where they were in control, and when they looked in control, they looked really, really dangerous.
But they didn't do anything. This was the problem. Our defensive system and pressure just meant a lot of the time they would go side to side.
Apart from when they nearly came back.
Yeah, well, no, absolutely, absolutely. I'm saying most of the time. So their tries. If you look at their second try. So the first try comes from a maul, right? We know the Lions. They were going to maul. That's fair enough, right? Reece Davis tries to go for the steal, gets spun out the maul, so automatically you're losing a hefty bulk there. So they go, I have no issues with that. Their second one comes from a miscommunication between Watkin and Boshoff, which means they sail through the hole. It's a quick 2-on-1, right? And then the third one comes off then that consistent pressure. They go side to side. They identify the numbers and they go over. Great, but for the rest of that game, they were just going side to side. They were making line breaks, but the scramble was great. They were getting turned over. They were trying to, the double tackles, the dominant hits. I think Gareth Thomas on his own made 3 dominant hits. So we came out of that game with 80% tackle completion. There's a lot to take from. The only thing from an Osprey point of view I'd be worried about is how much we got turned over at the ruck. For once, we didn't actually drop the ball a lot. It was more we're getting turned over at the ruck, but equally we were turning them over as well, which probably says to the game in which how it was played. I think both teams kicked less than 20 times. Where you compare that to the Dragons on Friday, who were both in the high 20s, early 30s. So, yeah, I'm happy.
Cool. So, one quick question. Was Owen Watkin 12?
Owen Watkin was 12, yeah.
So, did he used to play 12? But I always had him down as a 13.
He started his career at 12.
Right, okay.
So, he started his career with mainly Andrew Bishop outside him, or Ben John, and the likes of that. And he was probably his most effective at 12. When he first came onto the scene, he was very much he had a lovely pair of hands. He was very much a gain line bust in 12. And he was very good at it. And then he had horrific injuries. He probably lost a bit of that pace, but his distribution game has got a lot better. But on Saturday, he was probably back to his best in terms of every time he took the ball, like he's got a lovely step and then he beats that first man, gets over, spins, and then the defensive rips. I don't know if you saw them on the weekend. He made about 4 rips and they were so nonchalant as well. He sort of just went into contact and all of a sudden he's running down the wing. that's a I talk a lot about USP, a unique selling point in rugby. I say Gareth Thomas with his chops, for example, Reece Carey with his carrying skills, Alex Craig in the fact that he's the only competent player. The smile on Lee's face is the pain back in his eyes.
That's biting the tongue, that is, mate.
But that's a USP of Owen Hawken, always has been, is that ripability. He goes into contact. He's almost like a rugby league player, the way he goes into contact. He just rips that ball so well. So he will most likely start at 13 on Saturday. I'll go that into the match preview later for reasons. But he went very well at 12 on the weekend.
He reminds me a lot of Scott Williams. Yeah, at 12, Scott Williams used to do a lot of ripping at 12. A lot of, and
his most famous try came from a rip.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I always had Watkin down as a 13, and I was wondering, was it because Gatland put him in at 12, and he went, actually, this is where you are in future. But we shall see. We shall see. So, okay, let's move on to the Scarlets game, because for one reason and another, I haven't actually been able to watch it. I've had family things, and not even my laptop. My laptop is fine, but I just couldn't log into the game. It just wouldn't show me the game, which was a real pain in the arse, because I'd been a good boy and I built up some brownie points and I'd done a load of jobs and I'd gone, right, I'm going to sit down and watch the Scarlets game. And then I couldn't. So I had to go and do some more gardening while the Scarlets game was on. So, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff around it. I mainly, from what I've seen on social media, there's just been a lack of effort. And we had this last season where there just didn't seem to be the oomph, where people, was there people out there wanting to go to the nth level for each other, and there wasn't. Whereas the week before it was, and we benefited from it. So, let's not forget, Glasgow second in the league, really comfortable with where they are. They've got a good squad. They've got, some fantastic players. They had a good day. They were coming off a really nasty shock against Cardiff, where Cardiff probably should have put them away the week before, and didn't. And I think that they went up a notch when we probably sat back too much. And we got tanked for it. The discipline was shocking. But I'm not going to call out individual players just because, for what I've said before, there are people on the end of those comments that nobody goes out to have a bad day. Sometimes you just have a bad day. And I know, Dinky and Tom Rogers will be sitting there going, yeah, I had a bad day. I had a really bad day. And, ultimately that didn't cost us the game. It's, the full 23 over 80 minutes, not a few cock-ups here and there. So, yeah, I mean, look, we in between now and the end of the season, we play Dragons, we play Zebra, we play the Sharks, we play all the teams around us. So, for me, there's no point Scarlets dwelling on that game. We played the top of the table. We play Edinburgh next. We play Edinburgh and Ulster. Edinburgh are a little bit iffy at the minute. Ulster have had a couple of iffy results, but I'd be focusing on, Sharks, Zebra, and Dragons, and just go, look, those are three massive games all at the end of the season. We've got to pull something out, and yeah, I don't know how at the minute, because it still feels quite down at the minute. It does feel down, and it's very difficult to just turn around and say to people, cheer up, come on we go, let's have a good game. It doesn't work like that. So yeah, it's hard to know where we go forward from there. It's just a really harsh lesson from a very good team, put it that way.
Do you think a lot of your problems come from the fact that you never get a consistent team selection?
Yeah, and some of that is injury. Joe Roberts is now out until the end of the season.
Start of next season, I heard.
Yeah, well, September he'll be back, but it depends what they class as back. You know, is that back in training or is it back ready to play? And it's his knee again, which kept him out for a large part of the start of the season before. So, really puts us in a crap position at outside centre because we've got Foxy apparently struggling to make second gear. And we expected him to retire last year. And I fully expect him to retire. The players coming through the academy at 13 are not ready for senior team. You got to be honest that they're a good couple of years away from senior team if they're ready for senior team. Which just leaves Eddie James and maybe Johnny Williams. Rumor is that Gatland's told Johnny Williams that he doesn't want him. So Johnny Williams gone, fine, I'll take a bit of cash and I'll go if that rumor is true. But it does leave us, struggling in the back division for next season already. So yeah, that's it. It is what it is. It gets to the point where you're just fed up talking about it.
I'm a professional Scarlets hater, right? I do it. I do it for free if I could. I was watching that game. I was flicking between the Cardiff Munster game as well, and I was gobsmacked at just how little fight there was. There was just like the Tom Rogers yellow, right? I can not excuse the action, but I can excuse the fact he mistimed it. He definitely he didn't mean to do it, but you don't ref on intent, right? He just horrifically mistimed it. The Dan Jones penalty try, he brings them all down. Again, we've all been there. It could have been anyone got yellow carded, right? The charge down, it's a poor kick from him and he should do better. The one I can't excuse, right, is Sam Lowsey. It was a fucking piss poor. He's very lucky that it was a yellow card. And I mean this, I'm not saying this as an Ospreys, I'm saying this as a rugby fan. If he had connected with the head, that's the end of his season, let alone. And it's just, but that's what happened when you're going through bad times, right? It happens all the way down to fucking Div 5 West Central. When you're getting topped and you're so angry, the first thing you want to do is you want to lay on someone and you just want to absolutely smack them. And I get it at Div 5 West Central, right? Where you're, but not when you're in a URC game, right? Hit him late. I don't care, but hit him low. Don't go out and do that to someone. It's a trick. But it's just, I look at it and I've always associated Scarlets teams, right? And I'm going to use the P word, Harley, I'm sorry, is they are prideful, right? They are proud to wear that badge because that badge comes with a lot of heritage, a lot of history, right? And I just cannot see that from anyone at the Scarlets. I mean, I look at Foxy and I'm like, what has become of you? I look at, Cowan Tupelotu, right? The pride, it should be the pride and joy of that Scarlets Academy, right? And he just looks like a lummox walking around the field. It says something when the boys who are performing best for you have never been in this environment before. Your Alex Craigs, your Teddy Leatherbarrows, right? And it's just and it's sad to see from a fan of Welsh rugby. It's sad to see. And even as an Ospreys fan, it's not even fun anymore. It's not even funny. Like, it's genuinely not. It's just sad at this point because there's no way you should be taking 45 at home.
No, and the thing is that we've been saying for a while that there are bigger structural problems that are, some of them aren't even rugby problems. Some of them are just the way life is down here at the minute. Is money is flowing out and nothing is coming in, everything is closing down. It's political, it's all of this stuff, and we're sitting there trying to kind of fight against the tide. We're being told that everything's okay and all. To give you an idea, right, the job I work in giving out grants and all that kind of stuff, right? In 2016, let's go back that far. If I'd have been doing it in 2016, I would have been working with 5 times the amount of money that I'm working with now, and that's the same everywhere we go in West Wales. The money just isn't there, so tough decisions are being made, and we're going to lose Port Talbot, we're going to lose Tata Steel in Llanelli.
Well, you're not right. I know you're West Wales, but you're not claiming Port Talbot.
No. So when Port Talbot goes,
I know.
Tata Steel in Llanelli goes. So there's a massive chunk of money that is just disappearing out of the economy that all kind of, builds into what we're doing on a rugby pitch. And it's hard. There isn't an easy answer to it. There isn't a quick fix to it. It's a long-term project that, people, I know long-term fans, people who have had season tickets for 10, 15 years are genuinely thinking about not renewing next year and walked out with 15 minutes to go on Saturday,
I was watching on Twitter, people were walking out at 45 minutes, and look, right, I've been there as a, we went through it in 20, at the end of the Alan Clark era, right? Is that, when we were losing to Southern Kings at home and things like that, and you're being told every week that you've got no money, you're going to fold, you're going to merge, right? All this is I get it, so I can sympathise with you in the fact that you've got no money, you've got no prospects, the team are playing like shit. It's a domino effect, isn't it? And it affects everyone in the community, not just the club.
Yeah, it's like the Kit Kat advert. Remember the Kit Kat advert? You can't sing, you can't dance, you can't play. You'll go a long way. So we won't.
But what I can't excuse, or what it perceives to be, is a lack of effort and execution on the field.
Yeah.
This is the time where you, as players, as a leadership team, right? And they talked about it in the Sale and Exeter game on the weekend. Is that before Sale won against Exeter on the weekend, they've been on a 7-game losing streak. They haven't won since December. And they sat down together. It was like Tom Curry, all the senior leadership players, and said, we have a choice now. We either go out and we perform for this community, for this club, for what we do, right? Or it's done. It's over. The dream is over. We're not signing these players. We're not taking that next step. And unfortunately, Ken's injured. Foxy's Scott, whatever, right? Where are them conversations happening in the Scarlets dressing room? Is Dwayne Peel the person to inspire them conversations? No, it doesn't seem to be at the minute. And I'm not trying to lean on old stereotypes. It's very much like you need to band together. And this is me being nice to Scarlets now, by the way. I'm genuinely like...
with the football where Michael Sheen goes in and where Reece Vance goes in.
Yeah.
I'll do that. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say to Mudrak, let me in and do the team talk, and I'll give them one of those. They fucked us with this and they fucked us with that. Now it's payback time.
It wouldn't be.
Is it possible to end up with a negative score in rugby?
Yeah, I was going to say. They'd resign, not play better.
You'd have to get at them now, boys.
But you wouldn't even have to get, because it's West Wales, you'd have to get, Wyn Evans in or something. That's Gio Camparo.
Well, Scott Grinnell does it, doesn't he?
Yeah, Scott Grinnell. Reece Fans is a Pembrokeshire boy. He's falling off with us. Anyway, let's move on to another very nearly we should have from Cardiff. So
I'm going to move because I'll say so many other names.
Let's just assume
let me get
Go on.
Let me get the heartache out first, and then you can say what you want, James. So yeah, we probably shouldn't have. Another one where we were like, oh, we knew we had a chance of winning that, but not really. I mean, you can't go 50 odd minutes without scoring a point, frankly. Munster were diabolical. I was talking to a friend of the pod, Kalen, and he was just like, I don't think I've seen Munster play this badly before. I mean, the half breaks and the defenders beating, we were just cutting through pretty much. We were breaking through the line at will, and then as soon as we bust through the line, we'd knock the ball on. Corey John Machowski goes for a speculative offload, and it's at Ellis Bevan's bootstraps, and he's trying to pick it up. It's all a bit frustrating. I know we should be happy and proud. The one thing I said at the start of the season is the one thing I want Cardiff to do is if they're not winning, is to pick up losing bonus points. I didn't mean just pick up losing bonus points because I'm honest, it's getting a bit old now. But I thought there's some good performances. Ben Thomas's 100-meter interception try was just excellent read of the attack and to get ahead. Almost beats the United Owen one for the Dragons against Zebra. We showed a little bit of Bosch. It was everything James is saying that Scarlets need to show. I think Cardiff have tried to show so far this season. It is oh yeah, we only started with 8 players. Our head coach has been sacked. We're no longer even training in a leisure centre because that's gone through the pan. It's all these things that should be going against us. I mean, yes, we've had that boost of the new owners, but that only covers so much because we're still on the same playing budget. And then we're losing some, and then losing Thomas Williams for the whole season, for the rest of the season because him getting injured in Wales duty, that's a huge loss of talent. Not having Falatau at all this season, which actually between him and Josh Adams, they've almost disproved the roof about the issues of Welsh players, because when they have put on the blue and black, they have been absolutely worth every penny every time they step on the pitch. That's one point. Yeah, Josh Adams. It's weird. As soon as you put an attacking system where Josh Adams gets the ball where he needs to be, and he's not just clearing up shit constantly, he makes half breaks. Who'd have thought having an attacking plan works? Yes. Yeah, it's frustrating. We potentially could have, but I mean, a bonus point away from the losing to the reigning champions. It's not a lot to be sniffed at, but I do feel like early on this season when we had the easier games, we really highlights just how much we really should have made more of it. We may be in 12th in the table, but we've had the same number of wins as Scarlets and Dragons. At the end of the day, 3 wins in the league is not enough for the promise we're supposedly showing. And and despite what some, there are a lot of Cardiff fans who are positive about it, but there's an ever-increasing proportion of us who are just getting fed up of being the plucky losers tag.
So are you all? So we're on the same amount of wins, yeah. But I don't hear you all go and sack the coach.
I do think a large part of that is because Sherat said straight from the start of the season, don't expect anything. And they've been very honest in saying that we're developing, we're basically trying to rejig, being lumped with a few big Wales international players' salaries, which we're suddenly now paying, the second 80% of their salaries, which has meant we've had to strip down to the bare ass bones. And then it's all been very close, and you can sort of say, oh, well, it was a high tackle here, it was a missed kick there. So I do feel like it's slightly different to the Scarlets because we've been in these games, whereas that Scarlets loss isn't even in their top 3 worst losses this season in terms of points conceded. It's their second worst points scored with only 3. As I said, they're averaging 14 points a game in the URC.
I thought we were talking about Cardiff. I thought we'd moved on to Cardiff, Harley.
You're the one who caught it and said, why aren't Cardiff saying sack the coach?
Yeah,
but also you've got to remember, Sherat has only just gotten in the job. He hasn't had 3 years of it.
Okay.
There are a lot of Cardiff fans going, well, I'm glad. There are a lot of Cardiff fans going, well, I'm glad Peel didn't stick through on his deal.
But he was going to come to you as an attack coach, not as a head coach.
He was going to be attack coach, and the idea was he was going to be sort of a bit like how Duncan Jones is under Toby Booth, and Mulvihill was going to move up to almost more of a director of rugby role. And and he was basically going to focus more on development, and it was effectively going to be Peel's attack and defend. It was going to be under his game plan.
So you escaped
So,
that
it's
with
with
it.
him.
So in
I think
answering
we did, yeah.
in answering the question of why aren't Cardiff fans asking for Sharrett's head, your answer is because we haven't got Peel. Is that the
Yeah, I
answer?
said because I think the long and short of it is Sherratt came out. He's not talking about winning league. He's not in. He's only just got in the job, whereas Peel's been there a few seasons.
Yeah, yeah.
And he had a chance to bring in his own coaching team. He's sort of, this is who we've got. Whereas Peel's gone to his special buddies from Ulster, tried to bring them in, tried to bring in a South African forwards coach, and it's just not worked.
I also just think it's the manner in which Cardiff are playing as well, and the manner in which they're losing is they're competitive. So they're not necessarily competitive in terms of type 5 scrum lineouts, right? They're probably below where they need to be. There, it was better on the weekend, I'll give you that. But in terms of the way they're actually playing, they are so much more competitive than they probably have any right to be, actually. And that's not to say their squad is bad. Their squad is stacked, and I am still firmly of the opinion they should be winning more games. And absolutely. You cannot escape the fact that they have only won 3 games. But it's the manner in which they're playing. I don't believe in brands of rugby, right? I think there's winning or losing rugby, but the way they're playing is entertaining to fans. There's a lot of line breaks. There's a lot of sexy offloads. They've got exciting young players. Alex Mann, Cam Winnett, Mason Grady, Mackenzie Martin, Ellis Jenkins, Thomas Young, fan favourite players who are performing individually. It's just probably not clicking at that final hurdle. Robbie sent me a really good message actually after Scrum 5 on the weekend, because I jokingly said that Sean Holly gave Cardiff a soapy hand job on Scrum 5, as they do every week. But Robbie actually said a really good point, is that the way people talking about Cardiff now is how they should have talked about the Ospreys 2 seasons ago, when we were winning games that we shouldn't have. We were beating Munster at home, Ulster at home, whatever, all these different teams, right? But we probably just weren't getting over the line as much as we should. So when you're having 7-point losses, on paper, the headline will be Cardiff have only won 3 games this year, but the meat and potatoes of that season will be is they were competitive, they were good to watch, and they're good value, and they're frustrating big teams as well. Glasgow and Munster, they rattled them. And actually, if I was Northampton, I'd be phoning Cardiff and saying, "Can we have a training session this week and tell me what you did against Munster?" Because that's what they're going to have to do to have any chance of beating Munster. So hats off to Cardiff, but please win games.
But
this is something we've spoken about on here, and me and Carl have spoken about it so much on the Central Pod as well. Is that we really do want to be winning games. There's plenty of those games where we really should have won. Our weird blind spot against Scarlets needs to sort that out. But when you actually look at it, the only game really where any Cardiff fan has turned around and said that wasn't good enough was that Queen's game, where we just seemed to have a mulligan. And no one knows why. It just, nothing was going right. It just completely seemed to have it. Because even the loss to Leinster, even though it was less than, it was more than 7 points. There were 2 soft tries at the start of it, but then for the rest of the game, we were actually quite competitive. And, I do think that does help. And I think that is buying Sherratt a lot of good faith, as well as the fact that when he first came, not this current stint, but his first stint before he went to the Ospreys, we did win Challenge Cup about it. We renowned for some very nice, doing a lot of nice attacking tries, and it's stuff that gets fans in. We bemoan no one turning up for the Ospreys even though they're winning, but at least Cardiff are getting the numbers in, and I think we're the only region actually that's increased this season. Which, I think a large part of that is how good the marketing's been.
Plus, you're quite poor last season. But while we're talking about teams losing to English sides in the European Cup. So James.
Fucking hell.
So before we preview the Ospreys Sale game, so Harley are going to move things around. We're going to do best 15 now, mate. So tell us how well best 15 went last Friday. Tell us what we were going to do. So last Friday we were going to. I put you on the spot last week, and I said, Harley, what are we going to do for best 15? And you went, I don't know. So we ended up with players that sound like biscuits, and we couldn't find anyone called McVitie's. So we changed it. What did we change it to, mate?
You tell me. I was nowhere near social media because Friday I was actually playing rugby.
I think
I would like to add some context to this. Is I openly said in the group chat it was a shit idea. Not blaming Harley, I just had the idea was shit. It was not going to get social media engagement. So I said, why don't we just do a bold 15 and say it's Easter eggs?
Yeah, and that's what we did.
We both went for the Easter eggs one.
Yeah. Okay, there seems to be an obsession with best 15 because we've done best 15 baldies, we've done best 15 gingers, we've done best 15 blondes, we've done best 15 stupid haircuts. And then we went back to baldies again. We did best 15 baldies that were playing this weekend, but we put it out before all the teams were out, so nobody knew. So it fell a bit flat, apart from someone that put it in on Thursday night and thought, fuck it, I can't be asked to wait till Friday. So what's this week's one, mate? What's this week's?
We're gonna do best 15 names that are either makes, models of cars or transport. I think because. I really want someone to try and get Julian Surveyor in as the bus.
Well, I'm already thinking Steve Ford on the wing, Cardiff player. I mean, that was way before pro time, but he was very good with the moustaches. We've done moustaches as well in the past. Best 15 moustaches. Well, anyways,
that was more moustache watch in the World Cup. We don't think we actually did they actually did do a best 15 in the end.
Oh right, okay. So anyway, I'm thinking Steve Ford on one wing. I mean, there's got to be a ton of Morgans that we can throw in there.
Ton of Morgans.
Yeah. What else? Who else can we throw in there? Is there anyone called Minnie?
It's just make it as contrived as possible to try and get in, like Jamal Ford, Focus Robinson.
There's got to be someone with the initials BMW somewhere, isn't there?
We've got Ruben Morgan, but you got RMW.
Yeah, has he got a brother called Bobby? Does he play somewhere?
He does have a brother, I'm pretty sure.
Seriously, he was brother of Morgan Williams.
brother of Morgan Williams. So
my favourite one. This is completely unrelated, and it will be a future one. Is rugby players who sound like film characters. Because I text Robbie once, I said my captain in the weekend was called Ethan Hunt, like in the Mission Impossible movies, and he just got incredibly excited.
Do you remember when there was a chance of it was Ethan Hunt and Tom Cruise could have been playing against each other?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, we'll save that one for a week when there's very little on. Which might be next week. Right. Let's round off then with Ospreys hosting Sale at the Brewery Field. I'm right on that, aren't I? That is next week's game.
Yes.
Yeah. Was James frozen?
Is it John Barkley?
Sorry, yeah, I was reading a text.
I was going to say James is reading something.
Sale game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm nervous, but I'm going to be incredibly positive this week because we have no reason not to be incredibly positive going into this game. The history behind it, we can't escape, and we have to own. We have not won a European knockout game before, right? And we have to change that now, right? For 55 minutes against Saracens last season, we were in control and we looked like winning and we were the better team. And, a Reece Webb interception later and it all goes to shit. So, yeah, I'm incredibly positive. Obviously, it didn't help watching the Sale game yesterday when they put 41 points on Exeter. The only caveat being Exeter were awful. And yeah, I'm excited by it because I think this squad has the capability of going out and doing something really exciting. I think we can target the scrum. We know we've got a good set piece. It's going to be at the Brewery Field. It's going to be an enclosed environment. It's going to be a case of making Sale feel really uncomfortable. It's going to be, you guys have never experienced something like this probably since you were like 18 playing in the academy, going to shit grounds in like Manchester or Warrington or somewhere like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, how many of them players have played at a place like the Brewery Field in their professional career?
So,
and that's not saying it's not saying that AJ Bell is the Ritz,
but genuinely, I mean, we all remember what happened the last time we played at the Brewery Field, and the weather forecast for this week it is horrendous.
Cool, great. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Water back. We managed to get 3,000 litres off the pitch to play last weekend.
Yeah,
it's just absolutely mad.
The weather forecast probably isn't great, but I don't think anyone could. New Year's Day was a bit of an anomaly. Let's be honest now in terms of the weather. I was there, right? That wasn't like normal rain in Bridgend. That was like a monsoon, a storm all at once, right? And you can't account for something like that. I think this time, if you're going to have rain, it'd be a bit, it might be muddy, but it won't be, horrific. And I know the bloke who does the grounds work at Bridgend, right? He used to do it he does it for Travanos as well, which is a notoriously bad pitch. He will be working overtime this week to make sure, as will everyone. But I just think that there's a great opportunity out there to go out, and we just have to take it with two hands and just be like, let's go out and enjoy this, and let's, we've done well in the competition. We've got a home tie win. If we didn't win out in Lions, we'd be playing in Durban this weekend, right? That, we made this happen. We made the home tie happen. We win this, we're playing either at home against Cast or away at Gloucester. So in rugby, you make your own destiny, right? You make your own luck. We've got to go out there and prove everyone wrong. Because everyone around us is saying, you haven't won a European quarterfinal before and you won't now. And we've got to go out and prove them wrong.
Okay, so let's get down to it then. Your prediction for Ospreys and Sale, James?
I'm going to go Ospreys by 8.
Ospreys by 8. Okay, Harley, prediction for Ospreys versus Sale. It is Saturday, isn't it? It's not Friday night. It's that's
Saturday,
what
8 o'clock.
That's what Harley thinks of that game, mate.
So Harley's left.
Harley's signal has dropped again. Oh no, he's coming. He's had a bit of a think, and I'll tell you what. I'll give you my prediction for that one. So my thoughts are. Now you might want to record this, James. You might want to frame this one for you, mate. Yeah. So Ospreys by 1. But judging by my by 1 scores so far this year, that might not be a good thing for you. But Ospreys by 1 on this weekend. Harley, are you going to fuck off in a strop again, or are you going to actually give us a prediction, mate? No, he's frozen. He's frozen.
Pot of amateurs, honestly.
Oh my God!
Damn right.
There we go. There he is. Go on, Harley. What's your prediction? Quick before your signal drops.
I'll be honest. I think Ospreys look better than Sale do this season, so I'm going to go Ospreys by about 4.
Ospreys by 4. Okay, And Jamie says Ospreys by 12. So yeah, okay, I just made it up. But Jamie says Ospreys by 12. And if he disagrees with it, well, he should have fucking well been here, shouldn't he? There we go. So,
what about your games this weekend, boys?
I'm having a weekend off.
Londonderry versus who, or Merthyr versus?
I so
I think I'd have got a week off in the Prem this season, this week.
Oh yeah, you would, because they're not connected, aren't they?
And I am catching up on my Open University writing a dissertation thing that really should be doing now, in all honesty.
What I will say is there are some cracking games happening this weekend. So if you're a rugby fan, sit yourself on the. So I'm actually I'm quite thankful that we've got an 8 o'clock kickoff, because we're playing at 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Who are you playing this week, mate?
Who's the victim this week? Millbrook. So we need 2 or 3 points, and then the title is ours. And so I won't be drinking, but the title will be ours.
So you're telling me if you win this weekend and you secure the title this weekend, you won't be drinking?
Well, no, because my partner can go into labour anytime, and I don't want to be on the lash when it happens. So no, it would be an interesting one on the weekend. Travelling back, sprinting back to my flat just to make sure I can see the game.
I'm surprised your partner is even letting you play.
Yeah.
It's the last one. If we weren't in the league title situation, I wouldn't play.
Again, my wife would not.
Yeah, I will tell you the story next week of the day I was born and where my father was and where my father should have been and why the two didn't connect at that time, because that is very much rugby related as well. So just to finish off before we go this evening then, so we are aware that Wales women played last week, but we had a couple of bits to go through. Jamie isn't here and we've got less to go through next week, so we'll do a little bit of review of Wales women next week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to try and get a guest on as well, just to talk us through where Wales women have been and where they're going forward on that. So that is coming up next week. All the very best to the Ospreys next week. Oh, fuck that. You may as well just fucking kick me in the bollocks now.
You've had a shit week and now you've got to say good luck to the Ospreys.
Like it wasn't going bad enough. I've got to wish the Ospreys good luck.
When you were saying earlier about we've never won a European game, and there's a stat about Challenge Cup that I love, that the only team to ever take maximum points from the Challenge Cup group stages is us, and the only and you're the first team, I think, to ever not get a point from the group stages.
There we go. Then we'll finish.
Got points from our Champions Cup draw. Come on,
don't throw stones if you live in glass houses. That's what I'm going to say.
I was trying to wish the Ospreys good luck for the weekend, mate. Okay?
You started this wall, I'll finish it.
Gents, it has been a pleasure as always. Thank you very much for your time. We'll have Jamie back with us next week. We'll be talking about Ospreys and Sale, and we'll be talking about Wales women. Have a good one. Enjoy your rugby. All the best, gents. Toodle pips.
Have a good one.
No stuff.
Thank you for listening to the Wrap Podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed recording it. Please do rate us and tell your friends, as it really helps us to grow and get better. We'll be back next week with more of the same, and until then, enjoy your rugby.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper? A woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver. I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.